All right. All right. We will call to order the Scituate Zoning Board of Appeals Thursday, March 20th, 2025 meeting here in the Select Board hearing room in Town Hall. The Scituate Zoning Board of Appeals is committed to providing an environment of respect during meetings. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there is disagreement. We value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized and minoritized communities, feel welcomed and respected. We ask our committee members and all who participate to commit to these standards to support and respect our community. Scituate ZBA meets in person and via Zoom. All meetings are recorded and can be viewed on Scituate Community Television Facebook Live. The recorded meetings are available the following day on Comcast Channel 9 and YouTube Scituate Community Television. With that, we will call the first and only application of the evening, the Town of Scituate, 600 Chief Justice Cushing Highway, Scituate, requesting a special permit in accordance with section 470 of the Scituate bylaw to allow the construction of a new municipal park in the floodplain and watershed protection district. The purpose of the project is to redevelop the existing building and asphalt parking lot to a public park for open space and recreation. Project is located at 44 Jericho Road, Scituate, Mass. Name and address for the record.
Hi, Paul Barkowitz, 18 Damon Lane. Good evening, everyone. I'm Paul Barkowitz. I'm chair of the Scituate Harbor Advisory Development Commission. The Select Board appointed our commission to assist in developing the park. We have liaison representatives from the Agricultural District, Waterways Commission, Disabilities, Recreation, Economic Development Commission. We have a liaison from the Select Board, Karen Connolly, and our staff is very capable. Corey Miles, our coastal resource officer. We're really excited to be here tonight. We're well into the permitting process. We received a certification from Mass EPA that our environmental review is complete and compliant with requirements. Big milestone. We've done before the Conservation Commission. We're going back in April. Another meeting, we're meeting with the Planning Board in April as well. We've had a lot of community involvement, public outreach. We've had 2 public surveys, several actually public meetings, lots of outreach to the community organizations, the various commissions, the departments in town, the Select Board, of course. And really our goal is really to have the town design this park. We've listened to the community and we've included features that the community has asked for and said they'd like. So our vision is to have a park that's a magnet for the harbor. It'll be part of the fabric of our community for generations to come. With that brief introduction, I'd like to turn it over to Corey Miles. She'll introduce Copley Wolf Design Group and GZI Engineering. They've been fabulous help in developing the project and in the permitting process as well.
So we'll have them present, and then we'll get a couple we'll have some follow-up questions for all of you guys.
Great. Thank you.
After that.
Corey.
Hi everyone. My name is Miles. I'm the Coastal Management Officer for the Town of Scituate. I have with me representatives from the design team that helped to design this project. We've got Ryan DuPont, who's the engineer from GZA. He did all the civil engineering for this park. And Jim Haru from Copley Wolf Design Group, who is the landscape architect. And also Madison Aronow from Copley Wolf, who is also a landscape architect, and has been working on the design for this park. And I'm going to let the engineer do most of the talking here. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to jump in. But I'm just going to let Ryan give a little presentation about how we think this park fits the purpose of the Floodplain and Watershed Protection District.
Sure, everybody. My name is Ryan DuPont. I'm a civil engineer with GZA Geoenvironmental. Been working on this project. So what we have proposed for this site is taking an existing site, which includes an existing building that's a repetitive loss property, not compliant with existing floodplain development standards. And the remainder of the landward side of the site is fully paved as an asphalt parking lot. The seaward side of the site is its current condition is a revetment that is covered with rubble and riprap in a dumped fashion, not really designed or intentionally placed. And what we're proposing to replace the site with as part of the development is a park which will include a smaller paved parking area, includes, I forget if it's 12 or 13 spaces, but 12 or 13 parking spaces, much smaller paved footprint. There'll be a grass lawn area with various footpaths through it, and there will be a boardwalk along the revetment edge that also includes a shade structure and a kayak ramp on I believe it's the southern end of the boardwalk. We believe that sorry, somebody say something. Now, we believe that the project meets the purpose of the Floodplain and Watershed Protection District standards A through F. We believe it meets standard A, which protects the health and safety of persons against those hazards which may result from unsuitable development in marshes, bogs, lowlands, and along ponds and watercourses. The existing site is probably the definition of an unsuitable development in a wetland or watercourse resource area, and we'd be replacing it with something that's more suitable for the area that the site's located in. B is conserve the values and lands of buildings in such flood-prone areas. So by removing the existing building, which directs floodwaters onto adjacent properties, we would be reducing the velocity of coastal flooding flows, both towards Jericho Road and onto abutting properties at the site. Standard C, to facilitate the adequate protection of community water supply through preservation and maintenance of the groundwater table. As the site stands today, essentially 0% of rainwater ends up infiltrating into the groundwater table. The proposed development will replace a large number of impervious surfaces with pervious surfaces, grass areas that will promote infiltration into the groundwater table. And we are also including 2 rain garden type infiltration best management practices for stormwater into the site design. Both of those stormwater practices will serve to collect excess stormwater runoff from the site and infiltrate into the groundwater table as much as feasible. Standard D, to protect and preserve inland marshes, bogs, ponds, watercourses, and their adjoining wetlands. We believe that the redevelopment of the site by changing from a impervious paved surface to a pervious grass surface will serve to promote an increased water quality for stormwater runoff that hits Jericho Road and that ultimately runs off into Scituate Harbor, or in some cases runs into the wetland areas on the opposite side of Jericho Road. E is to encourage the most appropriate and suitable use of the land. It's our opinion that a public park is a more suitable and higher use for the land than currently a paved parking lot. It's going to have a higher value to the residents of Scituate and be a benefit to the public. And then standard F is to preserve and increase the amenities of the town. That is essentially what this park is proposing, is just to create a new town amenity.
So, on that note, I have a couple of questions. You guys went before Conservation Commission on March 3rd and going up in front of them again in April. What are the results of that initial conversation? And what are you planning to do in the next conversation?
That's a Corey question.
Whoever wants to answer can answer.
Corey?
Yeah, I can answer that. So our initial meeting with Conservation Commission was very positive. They expressed a lot of interest in the use of native plants throughout the planting areas. They were very excited about seeing the reduction in stormwater runoff. They were generally just really pleased that the restoration of the coastal floodplain was a big part of this project. They wanted to do a review of the stormwater permit, a peer review of the stormwater permit. So they sent that out to a different engineering firm to conduct that review. And when we get the feedback from that, we will go back to the Conservation Commission. We'll also be meeting with the planning board before our next Conservation Commission meeting. So we did get some comments already from Conservation that we're going to have to cap the existing sewer line in place and run a new leader from the street. So that'll be one of the design changes that we'll have to amend the plans for. But other than that, I mean, we've had a very positive experience with the Conservation Commission, and I expect another positive, meeting with the planning board next.
Perfect. Do we have any online, obviously, anybody from either Concom or the planning board? I'm just asking, if they're here, I'd love to hear from them. No, doesn't look like Elizabeth.
There's a Karen's iPad, but I don't know that that's Karen.
You don't know which Karen.
Karen Joseph, I don't know who that is.
No, you do not. That's Miss Conley. You have no one online for.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. That's fine. That's okay. Bob, any comments from building department?
Well, a couple from various directions, not necessarily from building, but
Okay.
I'm presuming that the toilet facility, the temporary toilet facility is going to be barrier-free and wheelchair accessible from the parking lot. That would be a requirement that we put on it. I'd be curious, and I'm sure that it exists, but not in the plan that we're looking at, to see a planting plan. I think that would be very illustrative of the real feel for this space that's kind of lacking. It doesn't have a lot to do with whether or not the ZBA permit or finding is positive or negative. And then also the shade structure. I understand from the text approximately where it is.
Yeah, it's difficult I agree. I was trying to figure out how does it.
I'm not able to locate it visually, and wondering also what it might look like.
Will it help, Corey, if I don't know if you have a copy of the rendering, but let us know.
Yeah, can Jim share his screen, because he has some very colorful graphic renderings that.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
actually, if you could grant Madison permission, I know she has it handy if she doesn't.
Yep,
okay.
Madison or Jim can share. Miss Howie, we're going to need you to stop sharing. If you don't know how to do that, I will assist you with it.
Me to stop sharing, yep.
Yes, you do. And there
There you go.
There
It's
we
coming
are.
up.
Perfect.
So I can walk you through this plan document, and if you want to see some three-dimensional images of the shade structure at the point that it is, we can bring that up too. But it is an open air structure, just so you know. It's the light tan view. You can basically, as you look through the site, you'll be able to look right below and right through the pavilion out to the waterfront. That's the intent. The water, wind, everything else will flow right through it. There are no obstructions. There's a couple screens, but they match the requirement to that preclude the need to have them be breakaway. So they're open enough to allow water to flow through. So the Ryan described the two rain gardens. They basically are the shoulders of the park. Those are the low points that collect runoff and direct it back toward the harbor. So it also provides a nice vegetative buffer to the neighbor to the left and to a good buffer more for the park looking into the parking lot at the marina. So along the road itself, there's a series of slight mounds with all indigenous planting. The sidewalk that currently exists along Jericho Road has been moved into the site to allow 7 parking spaces along Jericho Road. You can, I'm not sure if that was a question about the bathroom, but the bathroom is removable. In the event of a storm, it will be accessible. It's located closest to the accessible parking space and the direct access from that parking space into the park itself. You can see the boat launch for kayaks and canoes and sailboards, etc. It's been located further away from the neighbor's property and angled as well to prevent any kind of conflict with the neighbor there. It's exclusively a passive park. You can see there's some opportunities for permeable pavement for picnic tables and through there, but a lot of it will be spontaneous and take place on the lawn. It's 100% accessible without ramps, just some sloped walkways getting up to the promenade deck and the shade structure. So this gives you a pretty good idea, I think, what's planted and what's not. If you have any direct questions specific about this, we can get through it.
I had a quick question. The covering for the shaded area, what's the material for the covering? So yeah, I was reading it was steel and plastic. Is it like because it could be a canvas, it could be, the different materials you could use for the.
No, it's going to be a full roof structure, a timber and steel.
Timber and steel, okay.
Yeah. The architect's not on board, so I can't be exactly specific about the materials, but it's going to be a real roof structure, not a tent or a fabric.
Okay. And other than the picnic area, are there any benches, or is there a plan for any benches along the boardwalk or closer to the water?
Yeah, if you can zoom in a little bit, Madison, you can see there's going to be picnic tables in that area.
Yeah.
Some individual benches along the way.
Okay.
And we haven't submitted 90% design, but we have permanent furniture picked out that could be bolted to the deck itself.
Okay.
And that obviously has to go through a double level of approval.
Sure.
But it's meant the deck is a destination, sort of a midpoint for the harbor walk, where people might come over here early in the morning, see the sunrise, just enjoy viewing out. So we'll have some very durable furniture bolted to the deck.
I'd add that the boardwalk, the portion on the left of the screen, is angled right at the lighthouse. So it's gonna be
Yes,
a beautiful space.
that's exactly correct.
Yep.
It's meant that the benchmark of the lighthouse in this park talk to one another, and we will have some very light lighting for the rails and such. So basically, the lighthouse will have its light. This park will have its version of light, but it's not meant to. It won't be spilling up into the atmosphere. It's really meant to mark the architecture. So these two landmarks can talk to one another.
Board members, questions, comments, inquiries?
I do not have any.
Sure.
I have nothing zoning related.
And are you folks asking for us to approve this plan? Or are you just asking for our approval for the construction of and this is sort of also a question, of a new municipal park at this location? I'm just curious because there was some commentary that this might change slightly. I don't know that those changes would impact this plan. But, I'm just asking the question from a sort of more procedural, are we at the right, they're still going to Concom, right? There's another Concom meeting.
Right.
Are there gonna be further changes?
I think obviously this doesn't happen very often, but seems to me, and again, the board has the judgment and final call on this, that you could issue a finding and or special permit for the park in general, and small changes along the way wouldn't affect that permit. I don't see why they should. The regulations are pretty clear that the municipal park is one of the allowed uses with a special permit.
Absolutely.
And beyond that, I'm not sure that a further detailed description is necessary. This is certainly a municipal park.
I agree, and that's what I.
And the structure itself will be governed under the building code, not anything to do with zoning.
Correct.
So
And it's.
we won't be getting involved with that.
I don't think we don't have to worry about set-offs, worry about any of that. It's, the structure's an open air structure, the parking lot, is where it's gonna be where it's gonna be, so I think.
You could make the argument that you would measure to a drip line, but I think even still, I don't think it's. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not particularly concerned.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, all right, in that case, I will make a motion. That on the town of Situate's request of special permit in accordance with section 470 of the Scituate bylaw, allowing the construction of a new municipal park in the floodplain and watershed protection district. On that application, that the board find that the purpose of the project of a public park for open space and recreation meets the requirements of section 470. That the project should be approved, and that it should be approved substantially as shown in the plan dated planned by Copley Wolf of 234 Congress Street, dated 2/12/2025, dated as revised on 2/12/2025. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's approved.
Thank you very much. Again, want to acknowledge all the great work of Corey, Copley Wolf,
Yeah.
and GZA. They're really phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. On the record, a lot of work has gone into this. Obviously, this has been an ongoing discussion within the town of the best use for this property. I think everybody involved has been incredibly thoughtful, has been incredibly focused on creating something beautiful for the town, and this is shaping up to be a terrific addition. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Elizabeth, do
Appreciate
you have any other business?
No, go home.
With that, I move that we close the meeting. On favor, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.